Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Ryan, he's Mike, it's Eggs. This is eggs. This is eggs. This is eggs.
Get all the eggs. Get all the eggs. Get all the eggs. Get all the eggs.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today I got a really good friend of mine. His name is Jeff Mukai, aka DJ Faze. He's from Seattle. We've been good friends for a few years now. He's also associated with Power 93 and Kiss FM, and same station that we were talking about with Tam the other day. And reached out and wanted to be on the show, and I said, sure. So without further ado...
What's up, man? You threw out my government name, man. What's up?
Oh,
Shit, here comes the IRS.
Keep that on the DL. And Steven, how you been, man?
We'll go back and cut it out. Movie magic.
Yeah.
Keep it in there.
So-
I'm not wanted yet.
Okay.
The night is young.
That's true.
So we met like 8 years ago. Long.
Oh my
It's been a
gosh.
minute.
It has been that long, hasn't it?
So I was telling Ryan how I first kind of met you. It was through that event I tried to do in Everett. You remember that?
Vaguely.
The one, yeah, it was. You were doing the Trinity, and you were broadcasting on Kiss. You know how you did that first hour beforehand, and I heard you on that, and I reached out, and when I was doing this big high school event up in Everett at the school gymnasium,
Yeah.
the Everett High School, and it was a 16 and up night kind of thing, and I had a bunch of high school kids that were promoting the night for me, and they did too good of a job because the prosecuting attorney from the city of Everett actually reached out and told me I couldn't do the event the day before.
This is all sounding very familiar.
brutal.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, you were supposed to come and play, and I had rented a bunch of lights, and it just I dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's, did everything I was supposed to do, but
Except for that whole permit.
there's a teen youth dance ordinance permit in Everett.
Is it Everett only? I never heard of it.
It's got to be something more than just Everett. I'm sure they
I
just
don't know.
cut-
That sounds like the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
Well, if you knew kind of Everett, you would know why they would have that. Just the way it's kind of ghetto and hood up there a little bit. So,
So they gotta be careful.
but I didn't know that at the time. I was just fresh from Arizona. I just moved back to Seattle, and I didn't know much about that. And I went to the fire department. I went to the police department. I had off-duty officers hired and lined up. And when I guess what happened is the kids that I had promoting went to another high school and were flyering cars, and one of the principals saw a flyer and called it in. And
Oh
then,
my gosh.
Which, by the way, I hate that guy.
yeah.
Whoever that is that just has to go out and spoil everyone's
Yeah.
fun. I don't like that guy.
So it just kind of came down, and he literally, like, he knew more than a day before in advance. He just didn't want to give me enough heads up to change it and get a different venue. Because initially we were going to do it at the Linwood Convention Center, and they wanted like $5,000 for the night to rent the room, and the gymnasium at Everett High School was like $500, and they were cool with me hosting a dance there. So I said, why not? But if I would have done it at the convention center, they have the permit built in, so it would have worked.
See, that's what you get for that extra zero.
I know, right? But anyways, so yeah, we've been friends for a while. Tell us a little bit about you. How you've been in the radio industry for a long time. You've been a DJ, but you also do all the editing. So you make all the commercials, the sweepers, all the stuff for quite a few channels, don't
Well,
you?
and let's go even further back than that for anybody that doesn't know you and, only
Which is
today
everybody.
learned your Christian name. How did you get started? How'd you get into the business? What was your inspiration? I mean,
Oh man.
where'd you begin?
Really, back in the sweet old age of 1995.
Oh,
Remember those
Those
years?
were good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, and
It was a good year.
It was. I graduated high school that year, and that's why I remember it. And my next door neighbor, he was a mobile DJ, but they also had a band. And
Nice.
yeah, it was a band of like 3 or 4 brothers, and
Isn't there a movie about that?
band of brothers. Yeah, and I
The
forgot.
Partridges.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to remember their band name. It was pretty funny, but they're all Filipino, and they all just played drums, and they had a whole setup. Guys sang and guitars and everything. I thought it was hell of hilarious. But then one of them would also mobile DJ, and so if they wanted a band at their wedding or corporate party, they could
So
do
they
a
could do
band.
both.
Yeah.
Were they that was their thing, was weddings and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's exactly what. Well, they sold cars during the day. Go figure.
What we're in the wrong industry. Exactly. We got to be having a band and selling cars. No,
Mobile DJ / cars.
Yeah. So, so they got me started into DJing back in '95, and I did some mobile stuff with them. And he just literally, I just sat at his house and just practiced how to beat match with. It's funny, he had doubles of raw bass. It Takes Two.
Okay.
He had doubles. Yeah, true. And that's all I did was just try to learn how to control a record. He taught me, how to scratch, just control. He wasn't much of a scratcher, but just the basics, just so you can control a record right. And that's all I did was, I want to rock right now. I want to rock right now. I want to rock right now. And there's so much record cue burn in them. It's like
Just
I
dug
wanna
in
rock.
deep.
Oh
That
gosh.
MIDI ain't going nowhere.
It literally sounds like white static. I want to rock right now. And I still have those 2 original records to this day, and I framed them. And that's how I got started. With those guys.
I inherited your vinyl collection.
Yes, you did.
And there's a record I think that I have that I need to return to you. That is it, the Village People one?
Yes.
Isn't there a rare one or something that
Cool
that's worth some
Modi.
money?
Yeah, it's an original press, not for sale promotional copy, and it's the long version of, I think it's like 13 minutes long of YMCA,
Oh my God.
and on the other side is nothing. There's
And I
nothing.
know
Barely
it.
do-
I mean, like
I can barely do 3 minutes away. What would I do with the
Working
other
out too
10?
My arms hurt.
I've been kind of sorting through them. I haven't come across it yet. So when I do, I'll get it back to you.
Yeah, that would be great. But that's how I got started. But then, like, if you're talking about inspirations, I listened
Well, yeah.
to.
So, I mean, you're a young buck, you're starting to learn the actual, the technical parts of the trade, but I have to imagine these Filipino guys weren't your inspirado. Was there, are you a Sir Mix-a-Lot fan, or like, where'd you pick up the interest in the first place? Or do you even have DJ heroes? Or are you just your own DJ hero?
Oh gosh, no, man. There's no way you can do this industry without looking up to somebody and somebody helping you along the way.
And I got to say, you're one of those people for me. And thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business, but I would look up to you all. So.
He's short, dude. You're taller. You're good.
Okay, well, I'll look down on you.
Okay. But I listen to the radio a lot. I liked a lot of radio mix shows. There's this guy, he's not on the radio anymore, but he went by DJ Ecstasy. And of course, DJ Scene, which anybody that knows DJs knows
Anyone
him.
around there knows him.
Yeah. And and this guy named Bobby O. I got to give him a shout because he went to my same high school. He was a couple of years ahead of me.
You went to Fife, right?
I went to Washington.
Oh, okay.
In Parkland next to PLU and all that stuff. He was on the radio like as a regular jock.
He was Cube?
Yeah, on Cube.
Okay.
And
I
he
was
also
I recognize the name.
yeah, and he also DJ'd. So because I knew he was from my school, and we had some familiar friends and stuff like that. So it was easy for me to reach out to him, and he actually gave me my first club gig ever.
Nice. Where was that?
Oh man, it was an 18 and over spot. I forgot the name of it, but it was.
Was it Dakota's? Do you remember that place?
I do remember that place
We used to hit that place on the regular.
because you weren't old enough to get in any of the clubs.
Exactly. We could only go there. And it was a weird club because it had 3 rooms. It had one that was a country line dance room, one that was like a house, techno, whatever kind of room, and then a hip hop room. And the hip hop room had like cages and stuff in the back. It was pretty interesting.
Yes, I remember like looking around, going, "Where am I? This is cool."
Yeah, this is crazy.
Well, before you go any further, do you have any memories from that first performance? So I have to imagine, going from beat matching in your garage to, your first performance in front of people. This is I mean, that feels like quite the step in a young DJ's life.
Yeah. That's all I did was, before that I was just doing like the mobile stuff. And I remember getting that first gig. I was nagging at him, like riding his coattails. And I was like, Bobby, man,
get me on, dude.
Whatever I could do, man. He's like, all right, I'm hosting this night. I'm DJing a little bit, but mostly emceeing. And another Cube guy, I think it was Big Mike, was DJing. And I brought some records with me, just one crate, small crate. And he put me on. He was like, yo, man, ready to go on? I'm like, yeah, man, anytime. It was like, how like double Dutch, you're like getting ready to jump in. Can I jump in now? Can I jump in now? Can I jump in now?
I hate that. Tam was here the other week, and I was like, dude, just tell me when you want to go on, because I'm just going to play until you do. So
yeah, it's a lot different now. But yeah, I remember putting the first record on. He was like, all right, man, you're on. So I was going to mix out of the whatever record he was playing, and he wanted me to play a specific record. I don't remember what it was now, but the part I do remember is I set the record down and I grabbed the needle and I'm put the needle on the record, and my hand is shaking. Like, those grooves are small, and I'm looking at the big groove or it's between, I'm trying to put it on track 2. Right. And I oh God, it was the most nerve-wracking.
You're a minute and a half in and have to backspin for 30 seconds to get back to it.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I remember that. But after I put like 3 or 4 records on, I felt pretty good. And I played for not very long, maybe like 45 minutes. And then Big Mike got on and, wrapped up the night. So that was my very first club night. But,
and was that it? Was that like the bug that got you into that, and that's what you wanted to do? Or
actually, no.
What was your trajectory?
This is interesting. So 95 and 96, 97-ish, right?
Yeah.
The Mariners were doing really good.
Oh yeah, that was my.
Those were the Griffey days, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Griff
remember that VHS video they put out with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, I still have that somewhere. I should give that to Tam.
Yeah, he's a big baseball fan, so he would appreciate this though. So back then, they're doing really well, and I was working at Tony Roma's. Do you guys know what Tony Roma's is?
Oh, you betcha.
Pizza place?
No, it's barbecues.
Oh, by the way, that's Borja.
Oh, yeah,
the
Borja's
factor
on
is
here.
joining
He's-
us
What's
in
up?
today.
He's like, I know no stinking Tony Roma's.
Yeah, he knows Tony Ramos, and he's from Spain.
Oh.
That's how bad we are.
And the sad part is,
Ribs, right? Some barbecue ribs.
ribs. Okay,
Yes.
barbecue joint.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's barbecue
okay.
place.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was bar backing and bussing tables and stuff then. And the Mariners are doing really well, and the bar just got packed, and people were, high fiving, and I'm switching out kegs, running ice and stuff. Of course, there's a smoking section back then, so
Welcome to my world.
oh yeah, you do that spot
Center
that still
Street.
smokes.
Ugh. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So, anyways, I was like, this bar is hopping. It's fun. Like, people are having a good time. And I need to work in a bar. So that's actually what, and I was DJing, some small corporate stuff and weddings and stuff. And I knew I could get into bars DJing. So I just kind of put the two together, and that's where it went. That's where I got the bug. Thanks, Mariners.
Nice. Yeah. So you focused mainly on the bars for the first little bit then, and kind of went from there. And well, you've played it.
Yeah.
You've had. Okay, so you had the residency at Trinity for like 10 years, right? You and Eric
Yeah.
did that forever.
Yeah, that was a long time in the making in itself.
Yeah. So this is like 10 years down the road, probably, or more.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's go from working in bars to how you got to Trinity and how that worked out.
What's sort of the next step?
The next step was, this is speaking of networking that we're talking about before.
Yeah.
This is how I got my very first gig, and I think this is how most people should get their gigs today. And I think this method has gone to the wayside, is grinding.
Yep.
Literally grinding. What I mean by that is probably what not a lot of these millennials think of grinding.
Well, no, I mean, we were talking about it off air, but there's an app for that now. It's Grinder.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I think you use that. I understand it's an effective tool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you like
Check
sub
that out.
sandwiches, yeah, Grinder's fantastic.
But grinding.
Well, back in the day, guys would learn by carrying crates of record in for like helping the other DJs, helping out, like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's 100% right.
yeah.
And just kind of, literally going to the club that I wanted to work at. So there's this place called Cheers West, and it was just this random bar. And I became friends with the DJ. His name is Omar. Shout out to DJ O Marvelous in Tacoma. He was DJing there. He was the resident there. And then also a guy I looked up to he did a different day, that DJ Ecstasy. His name is Charles. He was DJing there a different night. And so I just kind of hung out there, and I learned how to MC thanks to all the, corporate gigs and weddings.
Yeah, that's actually something I still have a hard time with. In weddings I don't, but in clubs I'm hardly ever on the mic.
I think you just go, yeah, and you just kind of pump your arm.
Yeah, you go,
That's
let's
the whole
go,
thing.
let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Well, that's
jump.
like advanced, right? I mean, you start with yeahs, and then you move into bounce and jumps and come on, party people.
Yeah, and then if you want to go really advanced, then you go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's in like year 3, year 4.
That's tough though. I can.
Anyway, grinding.
Anyway, so I just kind of sat and just kind of waited my turn. Like, those guys would need to take a piss or something and go get a drink. I'd run them drinks. I'd bring a crate of records. I'd warm up for them, and I would just study what they're doing, how they're doing it, and go home and practice those things. And get better every time. And I ask them questions, and luckily they were nice enough. And that's probably where I kind of got it from too. Is you always just got to be super humble. Don't think of everything as a competition. Because you never know who's going to help you out. Definitely in the long run.
Exactly.
And it's cool to hear you say that actually. Like, so I work in advertising, and this concept of what you're talking about with the grinding and sort of just going and shadowing a guy, being in the environment you want to be in, that stuff. I think that's really good and practical advice. Of course, I don't know everything about all industries, but I think generally in creative industries like this, this is sort of the, I guess, I can't say the modern day equivalent because it's not happening anymore, but it was the 10 years ago version of sort of a apprenticeship. Yeah. You'd go in, you'd watch the guy, you'd learn, and as a designer, we'd do the same thing. We sort of shadow guys, or we work in the business. And I've always been sort of an advocate for working for free, and, I mean, as a DJ, I suspect it's the same, but those early days, you're not making big checks, but you're going out and you're perfecting your craft.
Oh,
and
right.
and I think it's the same in most businesses or most industries, So I think it's cool to hear you say that. I think that's good advice. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's invaluable, and just that one-on-one, they get to know you. These are the people that are going to help you out in the future. And like nowadays, it's more like, look at my YouTube video, check out my SoundCloud.
Guess how many likes I got? Check this out.
Look, I have,
and they're all bots.
Yeah, I have 2,000 followers on my Instagram or something, whatever, and I can bring in 50 people to your party, even though they could probably really only bring in 5, but But yeah, that's what I remember doing, just grinding, and I just waited my turn, and then they were like, "Yo, I've been doing this gig for a long time. I got another gig over here. Do you want to do it?" I'm all like, "Yeah." And then I just took off from there, kept moving up.
So were you a record pool guy, or did you go and individually shop for all your stuff?
I did the record pool a few times, and it never really worked out for me because they sent me a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and you just got an extra weight to carry around.
Yeah, and no, I went to, there's no record stores in Tacoma, which is just, anybody listening to this who isn't familiar with Seattle area, it's just about a half hour, 40 minutes or so south of Seattle. So I drove into Seattle, I don't know, maybe weekly, sometimes even twice. And I got really good friends with Kippy, Kippy.
Kippy.
Yeah, who worked there until it closed. He's been there forever, and he would
at Platinum Records.
Yep,
that's where he was at. Yeah,
Platinum Records in Seattle. Used to drive up there all the time,
and back in the day, correct me if I'm wrong, but they only got so many copies of the latest greatest tracks, and so you had to kind of get there early, and if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. And so
that's a good thing about knowing Kippy, because I'd be like, "Yo, what you get in, I'll hold it for you." I'm like, tight.
That's nice. Yeah.
But
again, though, back to what you were saying earlier about grinding, it's about those relationships.
Yeah, and that's
you fostered a relationship with your supplier.
Yep.
And and he was willing to do you solid on the backside.
Yeah, exactly. And then he would always hold the records for me, and I always bought my records from him. Every time I needed equipment, I buy it from him. Rented equipment, anything. So yeah, that was my guy. And then, but how I got to Trinity, how we're kind of bringing it back to that.
Oh yeah.
How I got to Trinity was I eventually just kind of moving around the clubs to a little bit better one, a little bit busier one, a little bit busier one in Tacoma, and wasn't a whole lot to choose from. But my jump off was the Loft in Tacoma.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
There was a big club. They had a banging Thursday night and had a okay Friday, and their Saturday night was banging too. And that's where
is the same guy that owns Encore and the
Yes.
other ones is okay.
Yeah, there you go. There's another person that I started networking with, and to this day I work with them, and I owe a lot to my success to those guys. But I got in there very, very weirdly.
Yeah.
If you want to hear one other short story
Sure.
about
Yeah,
grinding.
we've got time. Talk away. I'd love to hear these grinding stories, but talk slow.
Oh, shut up.
Slow. So I was working at this place called Seven Cities at the time, and it was just another bar down the street. And I'm just kind of working my way, trying to have fun and drink and trying to make my name bigger, just in Tacoma. And Tacoma is definitely a big fish, small pond kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the big club was the Loft, and I remember going in there, like cold calling, I guess what you'd call it, right? No one knew who I was. I didn't know anybody there.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. And I went there on an off night. It was a Friday night. I knew Fridays were slow because their Thursdays were big and Saturdays were big. So I went in there on a Friday night, and they had somebody DJ. I didn't know who it was. I didn't know anybody there. And I walked in there and found the manager and this guy named Roger. And I was like, hey, man, I DJ, just kind of give him a quick rundown. I don't know if I don't even know if you're looking for anybody, but, if you are, I'd love to have a shot. And he was
Those
like,
conversations are always awkward.
oh, it was the worst.
I hate having those, like, hey, check me out.
Yeah.
It's like,
But he gave me a chance, and this is what I did. Is the guy that they had on Fridays, he didn't really want to do the night anyway. He was just, I don't know how he got put into it. But that's what he told me. He's like, well, he doesn't really want to do it, but this is our only guy. So tell you what, why don't you do next week? And in part of that conversation, I said, okay, I will do a night for you for free. If you don't like me, then no harm, no foul. Thank you very much. Shake your hand. Thank you for having me. I'll just go somewhere else. But if you like me, you hire me. And I do every single Friday night. And I'll just work it. And that's what he said. He agreed. He was like, okay, that sounds fair. I said, but on the night that I do for free, I have to get hammered. So he was like, okay, can you get hammered after like 1:30? I'm like, okay.
just get through the main part of the night, and once they're drunk, it doesn't matter anymore. You're good.
Yeah.
So.
And that's exactly what happened. I DJ'd the night, and then I actually really didn't get hammered because I was so nervous. So I had to keep my wits together. But I don't know. I thought I was being cool or something. And then at the end of the night, I remember going upstairs into the office, and boy, did he rip me a new one.
Why?
Because he also DJ'd before managing a nightclub. And he's like, why did you play this song? You should have got out of it then. Nobody liked that song.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He goes,
he's critiquing your formatting, and it's like your first night there.
Yep.
How long had you been DJing at this point?
Oh man. Probably like 5 years, maybe.
So you were starting to get a feel for it.
Yeah, maybe a little less. But I was kind of feel for it. Yeah, I had a program at night, but I haven't really done like nightclubs. I was doing bars.
Yeah, which is completely different. To be honest with you, you've booked me at a few times at a club, and each time I'm nervous because it's completely different. I'm a bar guy. I've been a bar guy for a long time, and when you go into a club, it's like nerve wracking.
Yeah,
it really is.
I remember. Yeah, I remember those days, and before doing nightclubs, and it was a transition, and he really taught me everything. And I remember walking out of there going, God, man, I suck. Like, he broke me down. And I walked in there thinking I was good. I walked out of there thinking I was horrible. And
but did he call you back?
He did. He called me back. He was like, all right, think about what I said. If you want to continue to work on this, come on in a couple of weeks. So I came on in, and again, he did it to me again. He paid me this time, not very much. And and every time I DJ'd for him, I got a little better. And then one time he got down on me. I remember it was a super busy night, and I had to do really good. They're doing some special party on a Friday. He let me do the slow night, by the way. So the risk was a little less for him.
not as big.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, I did one big Friday night, and he got into me really bad, and I was like, that's it. I can't do it. I'm not your guy. I quit. Thank you. And I literally left like almost in tears. That's how bad. Yeah. And I just felt bad, I just felt like I just crapped the bed and everything. And then that's
like the worst feeling. Just, like what could I have done different? You were self-analyzing yourself and just, it sucks.
And he even, I'd hop on the mic and stuff. He didn't, he was trying to teach me how to MC stuff, and I wasn't saying stuff right, all this stuff. And anyway, so he ended up calling me, and I'm still driving home, and I'm like stewing, I'm half mad, half sad, and he wouldn't let me quit.
You're coming back, asshole. What are you doing?
Kind of right. He wouldn't let me quit, and
that's all, that's props to him for doing that.
Yeah, and Roger ended up being one of my best friends to this day. It's. Like I said, he taught me a ton of stuff as far as that next level.
I didn't know that he DJ'd. I just thought he was an owner. Like I had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think it's really cool or important to point out, I think, just trying to keep everything, even though we're talking DJing specifically, there's some real good advice in here. And, first of all, being able to take critique and work with it is a really big deal, whether you're in a job or, doing shift work someplace or whatever, you need to be able to receive, feedback from people, in this case it was your boss, but, from your audience, from your client, from whomever it is. And you need to, sort of not take offense to that, understand what they're trying to do is help you, and then take that and take whatever learnings you can from that and invest it in your performance or the way you behave at work or whatever it is. And so, but I think that ability to take critique is kind of a skill in itself, being able to actually receive feedback from people and then do something.
Well, and the thing is that's something you have to learn.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of people who hear that stuff and then just get pissed or shut down or, whatever. They're not willing. Yeah, they're not willing to be introspective and say, oh, okay, well, I can actually learn something from this guy. He's been at this for a while. He might know something I don't know. And I think there's something really valuable about having sort of your ego checked every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
And because you develop skill set, like you're talking about, you've moved up the ranks, you're working in, now this is, you're getting to the biggest club in Tacoma, you're doing, you've moved up the ranks. So you're getting this ego, you're feeling good about yourself. Hey, I'm king shit. And then this guy comes and puts you in your place. And, as you just described, you definitely grew from this.
Well, one of my biggest motivators for me is when I know I fucked up and when I know I got to go and do better. And for me, that's my motivation to get out and practice and to do what I need to do to get to that next level. When someone puts me in check and I know it's like the ultimate motivator for me.
Yeah, I think it's just really important that people understand the importance of being able to be introspective, accept outside opinions and outside ideas, and then, take what works for you. Not every bit of feedback you're going to get is going to be helpful, but,
right.
Be willing or open to receive that type of stuff. The other thing I wanted to mention about this, and maybe it's not a formal mentorship, but I think the importance of sort of having a mentor or somebody to coach you through these things. In this case, this guy was, you were ready to quit, but he wasn't going to let you. He knew, he was able to at least identify, within your skill set or your abilities, he knew there was something there. He just was trying to coach it up a little bit and get it to where he wanted it. But he wasn't going to let you just, throw your hands in the air and be done.
Yeah, well, and, his personality was pretty asshole.
But I do think it's important to have those kind of influences in your life and have people like that can, bring you back in or give you the chance that you need to, let you blow off your steam and be upset. But, I'm not going to let you quit. This isn't the thing to quit over.
There's one other aspect to that too that I've seen another friend of mine do is, you're right though. You're doing better nights. You're rocking some crowds. You're doing well. You think you're doing good. Ego gets big. And then I remember he was starting to surround himself with people that thought he was great. Like, that's it.
Yep.
There's nobody to tell you that you did bad. Even if you did bad, they wouldn't tell you you did.
Well, yeah, and you see this sort of thing all the time with the celebrity types and things like that. You know, they surround themselves with people as crazy as they are.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's a little hard to see the forest from the trees.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, you need someone, you know, putting you in check to let you know that you actually need to work. You know, you need to keep honing in on your skills. So,
Also, anyways, I was going to bring you back to how I got to Trinity. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like how we get sidetracked and talk about these other aspects.
Well,
It's
that-
really
Well,
good.
you know,
It's
so
helpful.
I mean, you know,
Very
obviously
helpful.
this is your first time on our show, but one of the things that we try to do is talk about this this concept using the egg as a metaphor for taking your business, your project, your brand, your whatever it is, your career, from sort of the coop to the table, right, from start to finish. You know, trying
I like
to
that
achieve
coop to the
things.
table. I like that.
And so what I'm really liking about this conversation specifically is that I think there's some real practical advice in there. You know, it's not, you know, how to go and beat match. It's, you know, there's some real practical bits in there that I think will help
That,
just
that
about
actually
everybody.
apply in multiple fields, not just DJing.
But it's also, I think, kind of encouraging to hear that from people in different industries, you know, because I mean, I've heard similar stories from people in my field, people in other fields, you know, who we all have kind of the same experiences as we move through life. And, but there's something about hearing it from somebody else that kind of reaffirms it or makes it a little more real.
Yeah.
And so hearing these experiences, you know, and trying to, I guess, empathize or feel what you've been through, you know, as you've worked your way up in your business is, you know, I think encouraging, kind of refreshing. You know, I really like a candid approach, you know, and just sort of, you know, yeah, these were the struggles, you know, because I think that's really important for
And
people.
I
to hear.
think that the side conversations when we get distracted usually are the best. You know, that's when you get the real stories and not canned. We prepped this. Let's stick to the topic kind of thing. So
yeah.
it's riveting content.
So yeah, so and I mean, maybe you tell us, but coming off of this, like I don't know how many years apart we're talking from this period of time that we're talking about to Trinity, but is there sort of a gap that you had to traverse in order to get from one to the other, or is Trinity really sort of the next big hurdle or the next big cliff?
Well, yeah, there was. This is also again networking. You know, you never know who you're going to work with and how they're going to help you and how you're going to help them. Is our good old friend Victor Minigo.
this guy keeps popping up.
I know this is when you need an applause sound effect right now.
Mike can put that in.
I'll do a post production. Got it.
Perfect.
So before we go any further on Vic, so Victor Menigo, we've talked about him a time or two. I think his name's come up. He's a friend of Mike's, friends of Faye's, obviously. He's a Seattle DJ also. But, you know, really great DJ. I mean, I've seen him perform a few times. I mean, he's very good. And so anyway, that's who he is. I'm not going to venture to spell his name, but we'll put it in the show notes so you can track him down.
MENEGAUX. I've known him for that long, so it's like it's off the top
I
of my
can't
head.
handle the French names. It's too
Well,
much.
you used to do a funny bit with him, right? Because you through the radio station, you would get guys to give plugs, and you would record all the ones where they couldn't pronounce his name. Yeah.
Yes.
Menek what?
What? Victor, what was the one that he said? Flow Rida. He came in and he looked at it and he just went right off. He goes, Victor Minigox in the mix. And
I'm going to send that to him right now.
and then I had one that said it was LMFAO and I think it was Red Foo. And he goes, the men gotta go, but the women could stay. And I was like, oh wow,
That's great.
but yeah, that's I met Victor Minigo because he was DJing Thursday nights at the Loft,
Oh, okay.
and I would MC for him, and I would again study what he did and how he did it, and we just eventually just became friends. I knew he was doing C89. 89.5, doing the drive at 5. I always listen to that. And then he also started working for Kiss, the mix show there, Club Kiss. And then that's how I met Tam. I met Tam that way. And then Club Kiss was live on Friday and Saturday nights from various clubs. And Victor ended up quitting the Loft. I ended up taking over the Thursday and the Saturday nights. And then now I'm fast forwarding actually quite a bit right now.
Okay.
just kind of get to it a little quicker. Becoming good friends with Victor, definitely a mentor. So was Tam. And then eventually Club Kiss would come to the Loft from Last Supper Club.
Oh, nice.
So I wasn't working at the radio station. I was nagging at Victor to put me on the radio station. And I kept giving him mixtapes. And he was like, yeah, I think he was just being nice. He didn't really want me on, or I wasn't good enough yet, or both. And then
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. I just kept submitting them, every couple of months. He would tell me what was good, what was bad. And, I was just kind of waiting my turn. And so Club Kiss came to came from Last Supper to the Loft. And then now Last Supper didn't have a DJ. And so somehow I got somebody called me and he goes, hey, do you want to DJ at Last Supper Club? Because I hear that you're not going to be at the Loft anymore on Saturdays. And I went, oh, that's pretty cool. A quick little swap. So I started DJing there on Saturdays. And eventually Victor just said, yeah, man, we got a spot for you on Club Kiss. You got to record out your mix. You're going to do the worst shift there is, which was like the super, super late night, like 1 or 2 a.m., 3 a.m. or something like that. And I started recording my mixes for him, and that's how I got to the radio. And then eventually,
how did you record back in the day? I mean, was it on tape, like reel to reel, or like what?
No,
What
It's
time?
not that old. I think we had modern technology.
Well, you were still
Yeah.
using vinyl, weren't you?
yeah, we're still on wax. This is early 2000s
Okay.
at this time, and yeah, I recorded an Audition, probably what you are using right now.
Okay. Yeah. No, we're actually using that Zencaster software. I'll do it.
We got to stop giving
okay.
Zencaster plugs until they start paying for them.
Yeah.
So we
That's
talk about them maybe every show.
But yeah, I recorded right into there. Just 2 turntables, hit start, and I learned how to edit. So if I mess something up, I can go back and redo it and put it all back together. Victor and Tam taught me how to use that, and I burned it to CD and I drove it every single week to the radio station on CD.
Wow.
So was this sort of your first step into radio then?
It was. Yeah, they taught me everything I needed to know. The program director back then was, the music director back then is who I really worked with, Marcus D. Yeah, they taught me how to program for radio. It's different from the club. These are hits, these are sub hits, powers, how they categorize other music, how to program a night, but also still have fun, make it creative.
So most people that aren't in the industry wouldn't know that, there's a lot of radio tracks that don't get played in the clubs. And working over, that 10-year period doing the Club Kiss, how annoying was that to try and have to throw tracks in that you just knew weren't going to go off in a club just because you had to, because it was the power track at the time? How often did that happen? I mean, the only really workaround is just finding a dope remix or something, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. It's, that's where we went live to air, was at Trinity. And eventually, the same thing kind of happened. How I got into Trinity is Victor was doing every Friday night, and it was live from the J&M, and then J&M didn't want to do it anymore, but Victor wanted to stay at J&M and just DJ there, not on air. So then he goes, hey, what are you doing on Fridays, Jeff? And I'm all like, anything you need me to do. What do you need me to do, man? I'm on. And he goes, you're going to take over Club Kiss live. Wherever they go is where you're going to be DJing live from. And they happened to land the Trinity gig. And I started again doing live to air, but the same thing happened every time I put the needle on the record. Remember those first couple nights? I was like, oh my gosh, be really nervous. And but yeah, we had to play all those, like, I can't even think of anything, like something like a Michelle Branch record that was big, like a Hot AC record, but it was big on Kiss.
Like, what is going on now?
Like, why do I got to play this crappy song? Like nobody. But I'll play it early, or if, yeah, you're right, you find a cool remix of it.
Just get it over and done with.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about, so we talked about your DJ career, or at least to this point in your past. Mm-hmm. Now you're on the radio, you're doing things like that, but radio has also evolved a lot over the last few years. Can you get into, first of all, maybe any fun experiences at the radio? You mentioned, some celebrity drops I guess you were involved with. So maybe you've got some fun celebrity stories. If not, maybe talk a little bit about how the industry has changed and how it's affected, people working in the business, because I have to imagine it's not that easy to find work in radio nowadays.
No, it's not. It's definitely this is what I say about radio. You don't go into radio to get rich. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You don't make a lot of money. And and not every DJ could do radio. Some guys are like anti-radio. I don't know if they think they're hipster or whatever, but
well, to be honest with you, it's a lot of work. Every time I put something together for you guys, I spend hours going through finding, which edits I want to play, making sure it's in key, making sure it's perfect, just because, it's essentially my business card,
Yeah. And that's how you really have to look at it. Here's another good networking skill, is sometimes it may not be necessarily what you want to do. Cause a lot of the DJs, and it is an art form, and, playing this radio track like something dumb, right? Like I have to play this stupid, I don't know, Kesha record or something, or Lady Gaga record,
it's
or
going
whatever.
down.
Yeah, like I don't like Katy Perry, but you know what? The girls like it. It's a big radio hit. It's tough to have somebody tell you what to play and how to play it when you're an artist. You're trying to put together a good product, and you have your own brand, and you're trying to do something, but that the radio can help you in other ways. And it ended up helping me in ways that I didn't even know that would help me. It just ended up helping me with programming, what hits were, what other people wanted, what I thought was cool might be one thing, but
it might not work with, another, where you're at,
Well, we're entertaining the general public, even when we DJ, right? So, you might have to play some records that you personally don't like.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. And radio
Every
taught me
rap
that.
song that came out in the last year.
Yeah.
Borja, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, Borja is a virtual mine of hip hop information, and he's a big fan of modern hip hop, and so him and Mike butt heads a little bit on this stuff. So, but I got to tell you, FaZe, one of the things. I mean, I love this. You've hit on like kind of another one of these fundamental things that for me, I kind of hold to the core, but I think it's really good to call attention to, and that's especially with sort of like the millennial generation and folks coming up now. The importance of doing things you don't want to do. And, in this case, it's playing music that you don't like or playing whatever's hot, even if you disagree with it, or not maybe being able to play your favorite record because it just doesn't work. But I think it's really important that people recognize that being able to just sort of put your head down and do the job is an important thing or an important characteristic to have. Again, in whatever your career might be or whatever it is you are doing, because you're no doubt going to run into situations like this through, over the course of years where you're put in a position to do things that you maybe don't agree with or that you don't like. And I'm not saying ethical things, but I mean, in this case, it's this, or like in my industry, for example, maybe I have to use, I don't know, some element of an ad.
Drop shadow.
I have to use a drop shadow that I don't love, or, a logo that doesn't work or something, but the concept is the same, is that, it's important that you be objective enough to sort of see what everybody else needs from you, or, take recommendations again. And
well, just to put the client first in most instances. I know people will butt heads with a bride. You're like, it's her wedding. Come on,
Yeah. So anyway, I think that, that's just another one of these good things that I think you've landed on. I think it's really good advice.
Yeah. And it's definitely tough when you're in an industry that is more, leaning towards the artistic side of things, where you kind of have some kind of creative freedom.
For sure. This is the plague of a creative.
Then you just crank out whatever work you need to do if you're on some sort of like, production line or, something like that.
Yeah,
but
if you're building Big Macs or something, it's maybe not as important. But yeah, definitely in creative fields.
Those sandwich artists, man, I tell you.
Yeah, the guys at Subway are a different story. Okay. Back to grinders and everything else. But
it always goes back to food.
Well, the importance of a callback. But yeah, I think that's another bit of practical advice that I think it's important to call out. Is just that your boss is going to ask you to do stuff you don't want to do, and sometimes being the best radio DJ, the best club DJ, the best artist, the best designer, the best whatever it is going to come by doing, or being capable of making the best out of a hard situation.
You're 100% right. And you never know where the next step will take you, because it made me a better DJ. It made me kind of able to do stuff I didn't want to do, but also kind of like think on the fly and just build that rapport with other people.
It's fighting through resistance. It's not taking the easy path. The easy path is just playing the music you want all night.
And just playing the song all the way out and not trying to be, unique and different with it.
Yeah, and I think that shows like a real ethic, in terms of sort of just the way a person works. Is you're able to do the best, like with a radio program, for example, you're able to make the best damn show you can make because you're doing it with stuff you don't necessarily love or that you agree with, not in spite of those things.
I think I really enjoyed the challenge of it because, okay, here's some material that I have that I like. Here's other material that I have to try to fit into this, and I have to try to
make it work.
How am I going to make this work? And I like the challenge of it. And sometimes I come up with some funny things. It's like, okay, I got to play this Justin Bieber song. Okay, and I just did this on this mix the other day.
Tread lightly with Bieber.
Go ahead, finish. I'm going to bring something up though in a second.
Okay, so I went from, like I was playing Despacito. Okay, it's some remix of Despacito on last mix, and then I went into and just the way that the music was programmed and all these categories of music. I thought it'd be funny to go into the other Justin Bieber Friends right after that.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, but technically it's Luis Fonsi for Despacito.
Different person, but he's in it. But everyone knows it as Bieber.
Exactly. So. Well, do you remember that song called Digital Biebs by Jump Smokers? And he goes, I love Justin Bieber. I love Justin Bieber. So I just like looped it and chopped it up. And that was one thing that I just thought was interesting that you could do is, okay, I'm playing Despacito, big radio hit. I'm going to Friends. It's an okay radio hit. They're different categories, but I thought it was kind of funny because, okay, I'm doing Justin Bieber to Justin Bieber. I found this Justin Bieber loop and I chopped it up and made it interesting. And I laughed when I got done with it, and I was kind of proud of it. I'm like,
and no one else cared but you.
You're 100%
right. But still, that's, it's sort of that ethic we're talking about, making lemonade from lemons.
And what I was going to say earlier was, I remember, God, it must be like 5-6 years ago. You stole a sample from Beavis and Butthead. Whores, fornicators, made a loop out of it.
Fornicators,
whores. I mean, that to me is like this next level stuff because you literally had to go on your TV, DVR it, pull it off of there, pull it into Pro Tools, make it quantize to the right tempo, and make a loop out of it. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I was watching some old. I remember that night, and I was watching something super old. Some like throwback thing, Beavis and Butthead, and that was something that was on there, just a part of the episode. And the guy was walking back and forth, like protesting. And he was just going, "Whores, fornicators, whores," and I go,
That's a loop. We're gonna make this work.
Quantize. And that's what I did. Is what you said. I just went, found it, recorded it, and then quantized it to. I knew I was going to play it at like 128 because it sounded good at 128 BPM, and just put it together.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of that, I mean, like, you're probably one of the original guys back in the day to start making edits, to make, like custom transitions and using your, editing skills that you learned by making the radio tracks. You went in and started making redrums and doing all this other stuff. And that, that sets you apart from anyone else, really. I mean, because you're literally making your own custom stuff. Kind of walk us through how you got started in that and how, it kind of changed your career. And because right now you're not really, when you work for the station, you do the show, but your day job's, edits, production. Yeah.
That's definitely, I think it's a natural progression for a lot of DJs that want to continue into, music and continue DJing. It's a natural progression. There's so many producers that used to be DJs and vice versa. When the mashup game was great and Crook and Clan was like, that's where you went to buy all your mashups.
That's where I really found you at. Was you and Vic was Crook and Clan days before Strictly Hits and all that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another shout to Victor. Victor was on Crook and Clan before I was, and he helped me get onto there. So
that's nice.
Again, just more of that networking. You never know who can help you out. And I started making a ton of mashups and horrible mashups. I mean,
don't you hate that when you go back? I did that the other day. I found a track. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? And I gave one to Vic at one point. And he's like, why? Why redrum it? It was good to begin with. You just fucked it up. I'm like, you're right.
I always felt that way about like Beatles tracks. When I hear Beatles tracks, because I love the Beatles. Yeah. And I was like, why did you do anything to it? But that's where it all started. And then and then eventually it's all I really wanted to do was, learn how to produce and watching a lot of YouTube videos. And then eventually I moved into Pro Tools and start learning Pro Tools. And then I was like, okay, I need to really learn Pro Tools and really know more about this aspect of music and production. So I ended up going to college.
And I followed your ass there.
Yeah, that's right. Good old Shoreline. Took the music class there. And that really launched me into, the day job. Because I was literally sitting here going, okay, I'm on Pro Tools all day, making mashups, making transitions, making, all this DJing, type of production. I should really get paid during the day because I'm already spending 8 hours or more doing this.
Doing it, so you might as well do it for money.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it for myself. At the end of the day, you are doing it for money because, you're making your own edits. I really put a lot of pride in that. And, that helped me make my sets a little more different. And it helped me as a DJ. But, and then thanks that I've been with the radio station this whole time, I had my foot in the door. So, again, a guy was up there helping me out. And he's the producer. His name's L. And I asked him all the time. I go, dude, do you need some help? Is there anything I can help you with? Give me some crap work. I'll do it for free. And he was like, yeah, man. Can you do a countdown from 1 to 100? 100 individual pieces. I went, he gave me a bunch of effects and he gave me some VO, some voiceover, and he was like, hey, put it all together. So I made 100 of these things. I went zip, zap, zoop. Number 100.
And what was this for? Was this a countdown for the top 100 tracks for the year or something? Or?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
So like he would make me do that kind of stuff. And, but I stuck with it. And then again, he was like, yo, I'm getting ready to leave this job. They're going to need someone to fill it. Are you with it? And I'm all like, yep. And, eventually it was a long process to get in, but then I got in. That's it.
Yeah. So you do it for what, 4 or 5 stations?
Yeah. I do it for do imaging. So when you hear the word imaging, it's kind of misleading when people think like pictures.
JPEGs. I do JPEGs for the station.
Yay!
Animated GIFs, cats.
No, imaging is like the image of the radio station, if you think of it that way. So what, radio stations, audio.
It's essentially their brand, their audio brand, right?
The little stingers and the things like that come up between songs or whatever.
Yeah, anytime you hear what I say is a zip, zap, zoop, and then station name, 106.1 Kiss FM, zip, zap, zoop, and then it goes into something else. Or like a promotion, like a station promotion, they're giving away tickets and they find a cool way to give away the same tickets over and over again. Or they're coming back out of commercial and it's like, now we're back to the music. Power 93.3. I make all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do it for Kiss, Power. Help out. I still help out with Cube stuff. I do a national stuff for iHeart.
Nice.
And I do a station in Boston, Jammin'.
Okay.
So, but again, that's more networking stuff. I every time I step into a new role, I go back into that networking mode. And as soon as I got the day job here, I just started talking to everybody I can. Now I'm working for a company coast to coast, and
are you talking coast to coast, the night talk
iHeart.
show?
Oh, for iHeart.
Oh, okay. Isn't there coast to coast like that late night
coast
crazy
to coast,
guy?
that show.
Space Coast to Coast.
Coast to coast, that one night show.
Yeah, the crazy dude. I saw aliens. Whatever.
I know. I've tuned into that a couple times. I'm like,
it's on after the club and it's not music. So I would tune in and sometimes I'd be like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Was it George Norrie or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just did it all over again. Started networking, and talking to people across the country. Some things aligned at the radio station what's one thing that we kind of wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
But it really helped my career, all those things that changed at the radio station recently.
Well, and I'm not trying to beat a horse here because I feel like I keep bringing up sort of the same point over and over again in different ways. Mm-hmm. But I think, what you're talking about here is sort of the importance of raising your hand, being assertive and injecting yourself into situations. And so, like you mentioned, volunteering to help this guy makes the stingers or the top 100 countdown. Like, that's not fun work. Nobody wants
he
to
didn't want to
work.
sit there and do it. He knew it needed to be done.
But it's, that type of hand raising, and again, back to the previous points of doing what you don't want to do and things like that. I think these are all characteristics that make, good, well-rounded employees, business people, whatever. And so I just, I wanted to point that out again, that this is just another example of sort of hand raising. And I think you were sort of seeing that in your character throughout this story.
Yeah. And I don't know what made me do that from the beginning. It just kind of I don't know. But it's definitely helped my career. But, it's just all building blocks. It came from, hey, I'll DJ a night for you for free. I just want some liquor, to now I have, a career that's on top of DJing. Or DJing's on top of this career. I'm not quite sure. But it got me to a position where, okay, I don't have to DJ every single night anymore. I'm doing production, which I love doing. I'm doing radio, but then on top of that, I got a great day job. Not a lot of people can do this.
You just started a family. You just bought a house. I mean, that's kind of got to change things a little bit.
That changed things a lot, but
yeah, I'm sure.
None of that would have been possible without these stepping stones to get where I'm at. And I remember walking into my interview to get this day job at iHeartMedia, and I told Eric Powers, he's a guy who hired me,
formerly from Cube back in the day, right?
Yeah. I remember telling him in my interview, I go, I have a 5-year plan. He didn't ask me in an interview. That's kind of like an interview question, but I just brought it up. I go, I got a 5-year plan. I said, I got the girl. I want to get married. I want to have a kid. All this starts with having this day job, to have this foundation with benefits and, 401k.
That's one thing. DJing, you don't have that. You don't have retirement. You don't have, you're pretty much living week to week, gig to gig. Yep. And that's rough. You can't sustain a family with that.
You can and you can't. A lot of people do, and but again, those are people that have cultivated relationships, so they have that steady income. And I was lucky to be, I quit my day job, I don't know, back in early 2000s, working in the grocery industry in distribution, and I quit that and just DJ'd for 15 years or so. Yeah. And then eventually, you get older, your priorities change, and you start loving other things. I still love to DJ. I don't think I'm ever going to quit, but this production thing is really taking off for me.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Cool. Well, before we let you go, I was told that we needed to talk to you about some home renovations. So, as Mike alluded to, we started a new family. We've got a new place. And, Mike is bitching every other week about this rock wall and all this other stuff he's doing around the house. But it sounds like you're having some trials and tribulations with the new plates.
Yeah, we bought this house like about almost a year ago. So November of last year. And Christy was pregnant with Cameron. And she was due in January.
Because Cameron's what, like 9 months old now?
Yeah, almost 10 months. Wow. And yeah, we bought this house. It was, probably just like a lot of other markets, but Seattle's horrible if you're trying to buy a house. If you're trying to sell a house, it's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, so it took us a long time to find a house. And Christy was, as I said, she's pregnant. We're kind of a time crunch. So we ended up finding this house that we got. And it's good. The bones are good. And we ended up buying it. Because we thought we're a little bit of a rush, and we probably should have looked at it a little closer.
Little things here and there.
Oh my gosh. Like if you look at the trim, right? The trim along your baseboard trim. Like it used to be, this house is 15 years old, and it used to be that birch color.
Now it's just white.
They painted it white, but it looked like a 9-year-old painted it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And all the floors creak. I think it was a rental before we bought it. So there was just, just some things that they did. Like they did this crown molding, and there's speaker wire sticking out of it. Like they drilled through the crown. Oh my God. It's just horrible.
Why would you drill it?
It's horrible.
Well, aren't you on like the 4th revision of your blinds and stuff like that? Like you've trying to get wood floor in and all this stuff. You just can't get the contractors to do it right.
I wasn't trying to buy a fixer-upper, but I think I kind of did.
Get some
yeah,
sweat
even-
equity.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, even just like little things. I mean, what Chrissy said is can people just do their damn job?
For her to say "damn," that's a lot.
That is true. But yeah, with the blinds, like we have one large window, and they keep giving us installing a defective blind, like it doesn't go up and down, or when it does go up and down, it's makes a loud noise and all that stuff. So that's going on, and then now we got our floors redone because the creaking was so bad. So we're like, okay, we'll just redo the floors because they're
Don't want to
probably
wake the
15 years
baby
old.
up every 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. That's the worst room in the house is her bedroom. It just creaks. So so the 2-day LVP project ended up being 5.
Wow.
So that's what I was dealing with today. So sorry I was late, guys.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no, I know how these goes. Back when we bought our first home, we had this little dog before we ever had kids, and this little dog could just never be potty trained, and over the course of a couple of years, just destroyed our floors. So when baby was born, we were just like, we got to get rid of all this
Is this
stuff.
Peanut?
Sadie.
Sadie, yeah.
We were like, we got to tear everything out. We got to start from scratch. We can't bring a kid into this stuff. So we tore up all the flooring, and we're replacing carpets and all that stuff with just like laminate floors, hardwood floors. And when we pulled all that stuff up, it was supposed to be a 3-day job. The guys over at Lowe's or Home Depot or one of these places were going to come do the install and everything. And we started doing the demo. They pulled up all the floor, and we get a phone call from the guy. He's like, "Hey, I need you to come back to the house. We found something I need you to take a look at." So we come over, and they found a bunch of mold under the floor because the guy that had owned the place before us decided he was Mr. Handyman and had knocked a wall out of the kitchen. And then forgot to like route correctly the vent off the back of the sink up through to the ceiling. He used, instead of using normal PVC pipe like you would run, for normal house plumbing, he used the stuff they use in sprinklers, like sprinkler systems.
What?
And so basically it's an elbow joint, but it goes on the inside of the tube instead of the outside, like a PVC pipe would go on the
So
outside.
it's just a
of it.
constant drip.
So it was a steady drip over about 15 or 20 years. I was going to say something when you said the age of your house, because it's about the same age as our place was. And it's the worst era for homes. And so, because it's sort of post everything being made of high quality and good construction and sort of before modern techniques. So it's a rough time for houses. But but this guy had done this, and basically the water was dripping underneath the floor. So not only had our dog ruined all the carpet and everything, now we have this mold problem to deal with. So they tore up everything. They ended up having to cut out a bunch of our subfloor, and basically we couldn't be in the house until they eradicated all the mold.
So
we
you're
actually-
down to the joist?
Yeah, all the way down.
Oh,
And
man.
so we ended up having to move in with my wife's sister for a month because we couldn't have the baby in the house because there's a giant hole in the middle of the kitchen. And so,
Was this
we ended
Alicia?
so we ended up staying with my wife's sister for a month while they finally did the work. And it was just a nightmare. And so I do not envy the home improvement challenge.
No, it's not fun. And it seems like there's always a weird challenge all the time. So it's like,
You're just thinking, what's next?
Yeah, well, and for me, I'm not particularly handy, so like I get frustrated fast with this crap. And so, I mean,
I'm with you.
Yeah, for
I'm
me,
kinda half
it's
and
I
half.
either have to save my money so that I can pay someone to do it, or I have to have enough money to do it twice because I'll screw it up the first time and have to do it a second time. So now I just resort to trying to hire people instead because I make a mess out of everything. So
I'm
I
kinda
know
half
I
and
know what
half.
I'm good at, but it's not this.
Since we're doing the floors and the bathrooms too, I was like, okay, let's get new toilets.
Might as well.
Yeah, right.
Did you get the seat that lowers slowly?
That's the fun stuff.
I did.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yeah. You can't slam it, right? And so, and like, okay, and I'm watching YouTube, good old YouTube videos to see how not to mess it up, or
You put it in yourself?
yeah. So I ended up
Ooh,
swapping.
nice.
I'll pull. Well,
tricky.
yeah.
That
So that's-
little wax ring is tough to get in there, right?
Oh, you know what? I did that once, and then it sat in there fine. But I was swapping out the other toilet, and I found a product called No More Wax or Wax No More or something like that. And it's actually like a It's like not silicone. It's like a rubber, but It's a new different kind of seal, and it's supposed to be better than wax. That's what it's called. It's called Better Than Wax.
Oh, nice.
Anyways,
Shouts
so now
out to Better Than Wax.
it works great.
You know, we're looking
Send the check
for
to
show
Charlotte,
sponsors.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll put the address in the show notes.
Yeah, Fluid Master. Holler at me.
If you guys want to send a check, yeah.
But like even that, I went to Lowe's and we were going to change out our 3 toilets, and of course I popped one open, getting ready to put it in, and it's broken. The porcelain is broken on the toilet. I'm like, son of a.
Yeah, and go figure. Right, and another trip back. You can never get a single trip into one of those stores. You know that you're going to be going there 4 times.
Yeah,
This is why I bought the Frequent Flyer card there. Like you get points.
So
That's
Anyway.
fantastic.
well, we just went over the hour mark, and
Is there anything else you wanted to get into with Phase, Mike?
well, I kind of actually had a question about
Sure.
your name, Phase. I kind of have an idea what it is, but can you tell us where it came from and why you went with Phase?
I just assumed it had to do with the lunar calendar and phases of the moon.
He just gets
that's
psychotic
100%
every
right.
month. Yeah.
It's actually pretty simple. My mom actually came up with it.
Oh, nice.
I was doing this DJing thing. I'm spending all this money on buying equipment and turntables and, records and speakers and whatever. And then my mom was like, why are you doing this? Like, get a job,
She had no clue.
Yeah, she had no clue back then. So she literally said, oh, you're just going through a DJ phase.
Oh, okay. So it's see, I thought it was like an audio phase, like you're out of phase.
Oh no, I like this story way better. That's fun.
And so my mom said it a few times, and at that time I didn't know what my DJ name was going to be, and I wasn't doing that many bars or clubs yet. So I went by DJ Mukai, just my last name.
Oh, okay. At least you have a cool enough last name where you could have gone with it and been fine.
You could have pulled off DJ Smith.
No, dude, yeah. That was the weirdest thing for me, was actually kind of taking on a different persona and trying to promote something other than who it's me, but it's like, who is Ontic? Who, it was a mind trip for a little while. Did you kind of go through that same bullshit, or it's just crazy?
I do that. That's exactly how I thought of it. I go, I have my brand. This is DJ Phase. When I turn on my computer, or back then it was turntables and my wax. As soon as I had that out, I'm DJ Phase. I'm in the club. I'm trying to put on a party. But as soon as I turn off that record, turn off the computer now or whatever, I'm in my car. Now I'm back to Jeff. I always try to be super even keel with everything. Don't believe the hype. As soon as the party's over, it's over.
Yeah.
You go home to your wife and kids.
That's awesome. That's how it has to be too.
Yeah, so that's kind of nice to have the 2 different, names. It kind of helps you separate the 2 just mentally.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, hey, so before we get out of here, do you have anything you'd like to plug, share, promote? Anything coming up? Maybe parties this weekend or for Halloween coming up?
Oh man, I'm at Lucky Strike
Nice.
this Saturday. You listen to the Weekend Drop on Friday nights, and thank you, Ontic, for doing the mixes and helping me out.
Oh no, thank you. I really appreciate it. So it's
And we'll make sure to share all that stuff on the show notes for this edition of the show as well.
Bora, you've been kind of quiet. Is there anything that you want to go over?
I mean, I know DJ Face that you are the hottest DJ in Seattle when Mike is not there.
Shut up.
So, my girlfriend actually is in Seattle right now. She lives in Issaquah, and she wants to go out this weekend.
So Lucky Strike's where she's going to
Lucky
go.
Strike's the spot.
He's essentially wondering if you'll guest list her.
Yeah, of course.
She's the hottest chick in Seattle right now. So maybe
Yeah, be careful.
do something about that.
Yeah, no.
I'll text you her name and stuff if you could. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
we've
fine.
talked about it a little bit, but it's kind of funny because, for people who've heard on this show, so Borja is this exchange student living here. So, but it's funny because his girlfriend is here at the same time, but she's in Seattle. So on a similar program, working in a school. And so it's kind of a funny coincidence that they're just here at the same moment. And actually she's here with a friend of an intern we had 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of
Small
an
world.
interesting thing, really small world.
She listens to our show, so that everything you say now about this weekend, she's gonna listen.
She's going to hold you to it.
I mean, she and her friends, they want to go to
Capitol Hill. I was telling him about
an option.
the nightlife up there and stuff, but
Halloween party. I'm gonna recommend her.
I was telling her that she needs to check out Precision because he does the Latin nights, and he's got something at Box House this weekend. But anyways, thank you for coming on the show and reaching out and
thanks for
taking
having
the
me.
time.
I kind of invited myself. I was like, hey, I want to come on your podcast. What's up?
You know,
holler.
I appreciate that because it saves me from saying, "Hey, bro, can you do me a favor?"
That's what I do to you. I'll be like, hey, man, do you want to be on my mix show? I got 4 hours to fill. 3, 2, 1.
Just to echo Mike, thanks a lot for coming on. It's been a fun conversation. I think there's a lot of really good information in there too. So,
and if you ever want to come on again and reach out, we'd love to have you.
Or if you've ever got anything you want to promote or just talk about or whatever, you can just come on for a segment or whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm in.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we before the show we started or trying to convince FaZe that he needed to do a little stinger for Borja. So we were only half kidding. So I expect we'll see something in the next couple of days. So.
I have a couple ideas already.
nice.
Cool. All right. And with that, we've just got a couple plugs on our end. To learn more about me, my company, R2 Media Group in Salt Lake City or Spain, catch us at r2mg.com, at R2 Media Group on Twitter, or R2MG on Twitter, and R2 Media Group on Instagram.
You can find me at djontic.com. That's ONTIC. All my social links are there. Just go find whatever you want there.
Yep. And then you can follow the show at eggscast.com. Yeah. And FaZe, do you have a website or anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Duh. I'm horrible. My marketing skills are low. You can find me on Twitter at DJ FaZe, DJ PHASE. I'm not that cool. I don't spell it with Z's. Or you can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, DJ FaZe Seattle, because some other guy thought he was cool and took DJ FaZe before me. So I'm at DJ FaZe Seattle on those social.
So
medias.
I have a Filipino DJ, or I think she's Filipino or whatever, but she goes by Ontic, and there's two of me now. This is weird for me. I'm not used to this.
Ontic is like you're made up. Like
I made that up. I was drunk. Yeah. I was like on time and whatever. Like okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, in Tagalog it means DJ though. So
okay. Yeah. I think she's. I don't know. It was weird. Like I just. You ever Google your name just to see what's out there?
I Google myself on a regular basis.
Dude, I see flyers that I never knew I was on. I see weird shit and like. Oh, I was there, but I didn't know there was a flyer for that. Like stuff like that.
I would have used it.
Yeah, and so it's Ballroom's done that a few times. Actually, put a flyer out for it, and Jazz Bones did back in the day. And it's like I just do it to check and see what's up. And then she showed up, and I'm like, who the hell is this? And it's some chick in Asia. So
that's weird.
Yeah,
best form of flattery, they say.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, man.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, and on that note, let's call it a wrap.
Yeah. Thanks again, bud.
Thank you.
I'll be there this weekend. Maybe I'll reach out and say, hey, grab some
rock.
So cool. Thanks again, man. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
See ya.